All right, so are you ready to go deep on AI today? Because, wow, there is a lot to cover.
Yeah, no kidding. I've got Oprah going full on tech talk. Meta's up to their usual tricks with our data, new rules for AI and documentaries.
Oh, and don't forget that company, what was it called? World Labs. Building spatial AI, whatever that is.
It's definitely not getting any less wild out there in AI land.
Not at all. And speaking of wild, can we talk about Oprah's AI special for a minute? I mean, good for her for tackling this, but she did not seem thrilled about the whole thing.
Right. It's one thing when you and I are geeking out over this stuff, but Oprah, she's like the canary in the coal mine. When she's worried about AI, you know it's hit the mainstream.
Totally. And that whole thing with her saying AI is getting beyond her control, chills, man,
Yeah,
chills.
her bringing that up definitely reflects the anxiety a lot of people are feeling.
For sure. But then you've got Sam Altman from OpenAI on there explaining AI learning like it's just predicting the next word in a sentence. I don't know if that made me feel better or worse.
Probably a bit of both. I mean, he's not wrong. These AI systems are amazing at recognizing patterns. But to say they understand, like humans do, that feels like a stretch.
Right. Like, I get that it's complicated, but let's not pretend these things are thinking like we do.
Exactly. They're powerful tools, but they don't think or feel, at least not yet.
Okay, good. Just making sure. But if they're so simple, why was Altman pushing for government regulations so hard? Didn't OpenAI just fight that California AI safety bill? Seems a tad hypocritical. No.
Yeah, Altman's views on regulation are, let's just say they've evolved over time.
Evolved. More like flip-flopped, am I right?
Yeah. You're not wrong. But hey, at least the conversation's happening, right? Though it does make you wonder who we should trust on this stuff.
For real. But you know what really freaked me out from Oprah's special, the deepfakes? That Sora thing OpenAI made?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. The look on Oprah's face when they showed those videos.
Yeah.
She knew it was a game changer.
Totally. And it's not even about spotting the flaws anymore. These things are getting so good. It's messing with the very fabric of reality.
Exactly. And it's not just theoretical anymore either. Remember when the FBI director, Ray, was on the show? He was talking about how AI-powered sextortion is exploding.
Wait, seriously? Like with deepfakes?
Yep. He said those cases have gone up by almost 180% in the past year.
Ah, that's just awful.
It is. And it shows how this technology is being used to exploit and manipulate people in really harmful ways.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the wow factor, but we can't forget the real-world consequences.
Absolutely. Well, on a lighter note, thank goodness Bill Gates was on that special too, right? A little bit of optimism never hurt. His ideas about how AI could change healthcare and education were pretty inspiring.
Yeah, he's definitely got a point. The potential benefits are huge, but we can't let the hype blind us to the risks either. Like, take healthcare, for example.
Okay, what about it?
Well, what happens if the AI is trained on biased data?
Biased how?
Like, let's say most of the medical data it's learned from comes from a specific demographic group. The AI's recommendations might not be accurate or safe for people from other backgrounds.
Oh, so it's like the whole garbage in, garbage out problem, but with people's lives on the line.
Exactly. And this bias issue isn't limited to healthcare either. Think about AI in education. UNESCO's already raising concerns about it, and some schools are banning ChatGPT because of plagiarism.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not enough to just throw AI at a problem and hope for the best. We need to think about the ethics of it all.
100%. We have to be deliberate about how we develop and use this technology,
Right.
or we're going to end up with a lot of unintended consequences.
Couldn't agree more. Speaking of unintended consequences, let's talk about Meta, shall we? They've been in the news again for how they're training their AI, and it sounds like our data is the secret sauce.
Yeah, well, they finally came clean to some Australian lawmakers.
Oh, and what'd they say? What are they admitting to now?
Well, get this. Meta's been using practically every single public Facebook and Instagram post since 2007 to train their AI.
Hold on. Since 2007. Are we talking like everything? Our photos, comments, the whole shebang?
Pretty much. If it was public, they used it.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder about all those times they talked about using publicly available information. Like, why not just be upfront about it?
Right. It all feels very, we're just going to do it and ask for forgiveness later, you know?
Exactly. And it's not like this is a one-off either. Now the UK's privacy watchdog is all over Meta for wanting to do the same thing with UK user data.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think it was the ICO, right? What's their beef with it?
So the ICO, they're not messing around. They're like, hold up, Meta. Did you even ask for permission before grabbing all this data? Because GDPR over here is pretty clear about that.
Ah, right. Those pesky little data privacy laws. Always cramping Meta style. But seriously, what's Meta saying for themselves?
They're trying to smooth things over by talking about user controls, making it easier for UK folks to opt out of the AI data grab. But the ICO isn't buying it entirely.
Good. Someone needs to hold them accountable. But hey, it's not just Meta walking this ethical tightrope. You know that article you sent about guidelines for AI and documentaries? That's a whole other can of worms.
Right. I mean, we already knew AI was blurring the lines online, but now it's messing with documentaries too.
Hmm.
That's a genre built on trust, on showing things as they are.
Yeah, and I still can't believe that Anthony Bourdain documentary that used AI for his voice. Like, that felt wrong on so many levels.
It definitely crossed the line for a lot of people.
Mm.
And that's exactly why these new guidelines are so important. They lay out some ground rules for filmmakers,
Mm.
some ethical boundaries.
So what are we talking about here? What can't they do?
Well, first off, they really emphasize sticking to primary sources as much as possible. If you can use real archival footage or interviews, do it. Don't just generate something with AI because it's easier.
Makes sense. So no faking historical events then?
Exactly. And transparency is key. If a filmmaker does use AI-generated stuff, they have to tell the audience.
Mm.
No sneaking it in and hoping no one notices.
Okay, that seems fair. What else?
Well, there's a big chunk on the legal stuff, too. Copyright and intellectual property get really messy when you're talking about AI-generated content.
Right, because who owns that, really? If the AI made it based on someone else's work.
Exactly. It's a whole legal minefield that filmmakers need to be aware of.
Wow. It's like every answer just leads to more questions with this stuff.
Tell me about it. And then
Well,
there's the whole issue of simulating real people, especially those who have passed away.
yeah, that feels like it should be off limits.
The guidelines agree. They're urging filmmakers to really think about the ethics of putting words in someone's mouth, even if the technology lets you do it. It's a huge responsibility.
For sure. And it makes you wonder, where do we draw the line between artistic freedom and just, I don't know, messing with reality too much?
Right. It's all about finding that balance. These guidelines aren't about banning AI from documentaries. They're about using it responsibly and ethically.
I like that. But speaking of responsibility, let's switch gears for a second and talk about this company, World Labs. They're building something called spatial AI, and honestly, it sounds like something straight out of Minority Report.
Yeah, and they're not just some small startup either. They've got some serious AI firepower on their team and over $200 million in funding to make this spatial AI thing a reality.
Okay, time out. Before we get lost in the hype, what exactly is spatial AI? Because I'm picturing like holograms and robots and who knows what else.
Okay, so imagine AI that can understand and interact with the real world, like in 3D. Not just looking at a flat image, but actually grasping depth, navigating spaces, even designing things in the physical world. That's spatial AI.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get it. So it's like AI that actually gets the real world, not just a digital copy.
Exactly. And the applications, I mean, they're mind-blowing. We could be talking AI that designs buildings, plans cities, maybe even does surgery with the precision of a human surgeon.
Whoa, that's next level stuff. And you're saying this World Labs team, they're legit. Like, who are these people?
Oh, they've got some heavy hitters for sure. The founder, Fei Lei, she's like AI royalty.
No way. The computer vision guru?
That's the one. And the rest of the team's no joke either. Robotics experts, machine learning whizzes. It's like the Avengers of AI all in one place.
Okay, color me impressed. So with all that brain power and funding, what are they actually planning to do? World domination, maybe?
Well, they're keeping their cards pretty close to their chest for now. No talk of specific products just yet. It seems like they're focusing on building the core technology first, laying the foundation.
So they're playing the long game. Makes sense. But if they pull this off, it could be huge. Imagine AI everywhere, not just in our phones, but all around us.
Right. It's like we talked about before. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we integrate it into our lives and what it means what it means to be human.
There you go again with the deep thoughts. But you're right. We've gone from, can AI do this, to, wait, should AI be doing this?
It's a big question. And as AI gets more powerful, especially in the real world with things like spatial AI, those questions are only going to get bigger.
Okay, so big picture time. We've talked about Oprah freaking out, Meta being shady, documentaries getting weird, and now AI that can build us a skyscraper. What's the takeaway for our listeners trying to make sense of it all?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we're not just along for the ride here. This isn't like some predetermined AI future. We all have a say in how this unfolds.
I like that. We're not powerless.
Exactly. And the more we stay informed, the more we ask questions, the better equipped we'll be to steer this technology in a direction that benefits everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you have it, folks. Another deep dive into the world of AI, where things are always changing, always challenging us to think differently.
And who knows what next week's episode will bring. One thing's for sure, it's never boring.
You got that right. Until next time, everyone, keep learning, stay curious, and remember, the future of AI is something we're building together.